Hello and welcome to Henry's Car Barn, a collecting cars managed partner, and behind me is an incredible lineup of special Renaults. First off, the beautiful original Alpine, the A110, a 1.6 litre rally homologation special, mint condition, Alpine blue, couldn't be more perfect. If you're any bigger than me, you need to get your friend to drive it because it's that small. Now, a very familiar car. These are hot property at the moment. The second generation Renault Clio V6. Renault UK had two of these on its books, a yellow one, this one, and a black one, which was my long-termer at Autocar magazine back in about 2004. Again, very low miles. You'll see it moving a bit later in this film. And now the R26R. Back in the day when we had a product called Drivers Republic, you might remember that. This is a car that we did most of the miles in. It was fantastic. I took it to the Nürburgring, we lapped it. Neil O did thousands of miles in it. It's an early chassis number car, but come round here, chassis 001. This was as impressive a lightweight performance exercise from Renault as anything Porsche was doing with RS models at the time. These are very, very special cars. You forget how extreme these cars were. You've got carbon buckets, a roll cage, no rear seats. It's like a racing car. Its successor, what, 4 or 5 years later? The Trophy R. Again, bucket seats, no rear seats. Similar performance actually, a bit quicker around the ring. I remember these being so leery in the day that on a cold day filming it with Neil, I pretty much spun it coming out of the pit lane at 10 miles an hour because there's no tyre temperature. An amazing machine. You forget how committed Renault has been to making high performance cars for so long, even though it's got a less exuberant paint job. This is the one that most of us still look at. It was called the Clio Trophy, and it was the end of a line of lots of very, very fast moving Clios. But this really was a cut above because it had those dampers, remember, with the separate reservoirs. This car on a B road is lightning. It's done 16,000 miles, this one. I definitely drove it back in period. This is like going back through your old school books and seeing your writing. It really is a really weird experience for me. Two more normal Clios there as well. Just absolutely mint examples. Remember, this was a heritage fleet. It was used by Renault to promote new vehicles. So when they wanted to hark back to previous generations, they'd roll these out. So they're good enough to sit in a museum, because they were in a museum. Now here's the original Clio. Probably not for the ultimate car enthusiast, but if you're into product design, this is a significant car because Renault really did take the game to Peugeot with this vehicle. It's an automatic, the velour upholstery has barely been touched. And now, the Renault Five. I think we all agree that in the 80s, the French understood how to make cars for the masses, hatchbacks, unlike anyone else. They were the masters, and the Renault 5 and the Peugeot 205 really stood above them all. 21,000-mile Renault 5 in sort of retirement dark copper. Beautiful. But behind it, the Renault 4. Think of it as Renault's 2CV. The car for the farmers, just perfect. Remember, the exhaust comes up through that wing there, so don't lean on it when it's running because it gets hot. And suspension is by Disney. Absolutely wonderful vehicle. As you might have seen on Top Gear, I love these things. 48,000 miles, primer grey bumpers. I have not seen a better one of these than this. If you want something quirky to go to the pub in with the kids at the weekend, I give you the Renault 4. Back in the mid-90s, when Lotus was developing the Elise, Renault thought, we'll have a go at that as well. And they made something called the Sport Spider, and they launched it without a windscreen. This one has a windscreen. Very, very special vehicle. It's tiny, it's beautiful, it's a timeless design as well. It still looks so fresh today. These are great to drive, but they have no roof, so pack a coat. What a collection of cars. I know it's not Porsches and Ferraris, but in some respects, these are even more special because it reminds you what Renault has done over the last 30, 40 years for those of us that love fast cars. So, which ones to drive? I have to say, the Trophy. The Trophy needs a go because I remember that car so fondly from when I was doing a bit more active journalism, as they say. And I think also I'd be an idiot if I didn't have a go in the V6, which we're just coming up to now. And then maybe we'll start off with this little nugget of French beauty, the A110. Not driven one of these Alpines before. A little nugget of joy from where I'm sitting. It's so small. I'm a tiny man and I'm cramped in here. I don't think the seat goes any further back. I mean, weighs so little. Sprightly. Oh yes. Now I see what the fuss is all about. Windows going up. Gorgeous, lightweight 60s sports car. Think of it as Renault's baby 911, rear-engined. It has the most pointless pair of rear seats in the back that you've ever seen. 1600cc, but it weighs so little, it really goes. Very quick steering. Just immediacy of direction changes. This must have been out of the ordinary back then. And look at the colour. I presume Renault bought this car to help push the launch of the new A110, whenever that was, 3 years ago. Now it is surplus to requirements, but this one is, it's mint. Eat your dinner off it job. Perfect blue paintwork, lovely corduroy seats. Think sort of Lotus Elise style performance, that's what we're looking at. And it's just so tiny on the road. Yeah, if you want to stand out, buy an Alpine. It's really nippy, goes so well. Little Alpine inline 4, revs, it's a little racing engine really. You're very much aware of the fact the mass is all out the back. You steer it with small inputs, feels even more rear engine than a 911 actually, but it's so small, just so small. I love it. Small cars are the future, aren't they? Less power, less everything, more immediacy. I mean, this might be on the small side of small, but what a thing. It's gorgeous. The Renault Clio V6. These cars are very special, they're rare, they're worth a lot of money now, a lot more than they were when I ran one for a year on Autocar magazine. In fact, as I said, there were two. This was the press car and I was lucky enough to have the black one. Are they worth the money? Because they're now getting up to kind of 911 money, aren't they? And let's face it, dynamically, they're not quite in the same league, I don't think. But does everything have to be a brilliant piece of technical driving apparatus now? No, it doesn't. It just needs to be something that is special, makes us feel brilliant behind the wheel. And do you know what? From the moment I've driven it, I'm loving it. It reminds me why it was such actually a great daily car back in 2004. First of all, the ride is so supple. It's one of those cars that really works at about 7.5, 8 tenths. It feels like a big GT car. You forget you're in a Clio apart from the awkward driving position. Gearing's good, you let the torquey V6 carry you along, and it's an amazingly quirky motor vehicle. Go beyond that, and you'll find out that it's quite leery handling and it doesn't have a locking differential. But very easy to fall back in love, like I have just done now. If I wanted a car for holidays and holidays, this would be on my list. Anyone that's got one, I envy you. Anyone that ends up owning this, I really envy you. It's not perfect, and I say that with a real sense of admiration because it is an honest car. It's done about 15,000 miles. The gear lever is all scratched from the wedding rings of motoring journalists. There's a bit of scuffing down here. It hasn't been restored. This is exactly as Renault would hand it to us when it was a press car. Engine feels fantastic, gearbox is great. They could, I know, snag a synchro on second, but this one's really, really good. Yes, yes, and thrice yes. I can't stop smiling, sorry. I'm just driving along, warming it up, smiling because I'm in a Clio 182 Trophy, and this is one of the defining cars of my fun years as staff on car magazines, I suppose. I remember the launch, going to northern France, being handed the keys, hooning it around some tiny little unpronounceable circuit, then going out on the roads and understanding what expensive damping was like on a light car. I know it's only got a beam at the rear, being a Clio, but with this weight, or lack of it, it's perfectly good. This really was a point-to-point weapon, and I think the phrase that I'd coin for this is Renault always understood how to make affordable exotica. It would take a very basic ordinary car and do to it what Porsche would do or Ferrari would do with its special models. Yes, they were expensive, but still they were at a price point where ordinary people could afford them. And this just feels special, from the Recaro seats to the paint job, just to the fact that I know I'm in it. I know it's not that fancy inside, it's ultimately just a Clio. This one, 16,481 miles. There can't be many lower mileage ones out there, and it has an unrivaled history. It was owned by Renault from new, I think. And down here, a little bit of damage there. It's just wear and tear. It's an honest press car. Just to reassure the next owner of the vehicle, I have treated it very, very kindly. The manual gearbox hatchback will be remembered as one of the great driving experiences. Want. If I had more space, in fact, mentally, I'm doing that thing where I work out what would I sell to buy this. It's magnificent. I mean, on a narrow road, you'd back yourself against just about anything in this. Yeah, okay. Bye. Need to buy all of them. Want the Renault 4 as well. R26R, want that as well. Just great car.